Moriori arrived sometime between 1000 and 1400 CE, and all Moriori hokopapa are descended from the founding ancestor Rongo Mai Whenua. Māori accounts put the number of Moriori killed in 1835 to 36 at around 300, or about 1/6 of the population. Those Moriori who survived the invasion were enslaved and forced to do manual labour. In 1842, Rekohu and the surrounding islands were annexed to New Zealand as the Chatham Islands. The Crown took no action before the late 1850s to alleviate the conditions of Moriori enslavement. Moriori sent letters and petitions to the Crown detailing their plight, including the names of those killed in the invasion and those who had subsequently died of despair. The court awarded more than 97% of the land to the recently arrived Māori and less than 3% to Moriori. This has always been a subject of historical contention. By 1901, the Moriori population on Rekohu had collapsed to only 31 out of a total Chatham Islands population of 418, comprising Moriori, Māori and Europeans. At the turn of the century, several prominent Moriori elders died. Intergenerational transmission of knowledge, custom, tākane Moriori were severely compromised. In 1867, the Crown extended political representation to all Māori men who lived within 4 electoral districts. The Chatham Islands were outside all electoral districts, meaning Moriori and other Chatham Islands residents could not vote or have political representation. It wasn't until 1922 that legislation was enacted to correct this. This deed is the final settlement of all historical Treaty of Waitangi claims of Moriori resulting from acts or omissions by the Crown prior to the 21st of September 1992, and is made up of a package that includes the range of redress that I've already mentioned. What I want to share, Mr. Speaker, is notwithstanding a very complex history that has often been used to challenge tangata whenua Māori interests and perhaps their right to be called tangata whenua here in Aotearoa because of a lack of an understanding about how colonial history impacted on New Zealand. But I want to, I think, draw the attention of the House to comments made by a lead negotiator who, during his young years, was given a very huge level of responsibility to pursue the aspirations of Moriori, and that is Maui Solomon. In an article that I found in relation to the pursuit of justice, he said these things: "There cannot be peace without justice, and justice must not only be seen to be done, but must in fact be done, even if it takes another 200 years to accomplish. Such was the commitment of my Moriori karipuna to living in peace and sharing the resources of their islands, that they refused as a people to ever fight to the death again. They developed here on their home island a greater respect for the sanctity of human life and had agreed to observe the law of peace, literally through life and death, and in doing so they suffered greatly and many died. But they did not die in vain. Their legacy of peace and hope lives on through the thousands of descendants living today, many of whom are just learning the truth. For when all the wars and battles that have been fought, what then? Humans must learn to live in peace with one another and with their environment if we are to survive and thrive as a species. That's the bottom line." And he makes his final quote, to quote Gandhi: "Non-violence is not a garment to be put on and off at will. Its seat is in the heart, and it must be an inseparable part of our being." And when you read the detail of the settlement and the aspirations, the way in which language revitalisation enables those Moriori descendants to connect to who they are and their history and their place and their sense of place going forward into the future, you know that there is great aspiration that sits behind this particular settlement.